Students, um, uh, good evening. Now we'll see how the social reform movements goes with similarly goes with nationalist movements. How these social reform movements parallel with the nationalist parallelly goes with the nationalist movement. Okay, so I will give you the things. First of all, I will go with certain basic things, and I'll give you how the social women socialist movement, social reform movement, parallelly goes with the national movement. Okay, so as a result of as a result of the social reform movement in 19th century, the social levels were eliminated and opportunities were provided to women for their education. The expansion of women's education and their admission to educational institutions had produced a sizable number of English educated middle class. Um, English educated middle class um, and English educated middle class women by the late 19th century, and they made their presence felt in the political activities. And the characteristics of the second phase of women movement, that is the nationalist movement, are for the first time many women belonging to the middle class started taking part in the political activities. Okay, so till 1919, the national movement was limited to the urban upper class, and it was later with the Gandhi's entry into the national movement and participation of masses began to take place. Okay, so in this phase, political development and women's participation in national movement went parallelly, hand in hand. Okay, so the participation of Bengal in 1905, the partition of Bengal in 1905 resulted in the launching of Swadeshi movement by the nationalists. And though there was the absence of mass awakening among the women, but meetings were arranged and khadi spinning were taken up by women. Okay, so women contributed their bangles, nose rings, and bracelets to the national fund. In the villages, women started putting away a handful of grain daily for such a purpose. And the women of Bengal and Punjab took active part in the Swadeshi movement. And the women workers of Arya Samaj were also responsible for the arousing national spirit among the people. Swarna Kumari, sister of Rabindranath Tagore, and her daughter Sarla Devi were strong supporters of Swadeshi movement. Yesterday we discussed about the things. Okay, the sister of Rabindranath Tagore and her daughter Sarla Devi were strong supporters of Swadeshi movement, and important women who participated in the revolutionary activities were Mrs. Samji Krishna Varma, Mrs. P. Naurozi, Mrs. M. Chattopadhyay, and Madam Bigji Rustum, and K.R. Kanwe. Okay, a regular among the Indian revolutionaries based in Europe, coordinated the activities of revolutionaries. Okay, so and they also raised issues of women equality at international socialist circles, reflecting the Indian reality. Okay, so the Swadeshi period marked the formation of several women's organizations. Sarla Devi took steps to organize the women movement and its nucleus in the form of Bharata Stri Bharata Stri Mandali in Lahore in 1910, and branches of the organization were established at Allahabad and Calcutta, and the objective of the society was to bring together women of all castes and creed on the basis of their economic interest for the moral and material progress of Indian women. And Parvati Devi, the headmistress of Hindu girls' school at Kanchi, a small town in Madras Presidency, started Kanchi Mahila Parishad to equip women of Kanchi with knowledge to create public opinion over burning issues of the nation. Okay, so the period from 1911 to 18 is one of the great significance in the history of Indian national movement, because for the first time, women Anvisent led the national movement as president of Indian National Congress, and the setting up of Home Rule League and organization of the Home Rule agitation raised the tempo of the movement, and it was due to women like Anvisent that organized movement for the emancipation of women took place, and demand for political rights for women came to be firmly established on political agenda. And the important achievements of women's movement in India during the second phase was founding of the Women's Indian Association, and Pandita Ramabai's Sharada Sadan in Pune, and Sri Mahipatra Rupram Anantashram in Ahmedabad, Sri Zoroastrian Mandal in Bombay, and Maternity and Child Welfare League in Baroda, and Bagini Samaj in Pune, all were established and worked with the particular objective of improving the women lives. Okay, so the regional organizations were followed by national organizations like Women's Indian Association and the National Council of Women in India. Okay, so the All India Women's Conference of 1926 went on to organize 12 women's conferences till 1937, and Federation of University Women in India of 1920 stimulated the interest of women in civic and public life and concentrated on the removal of disabilities of women and promoted social, civil, and moral educational welfare of women and children. Okay, so the Women Indian Association was mainly concerned with influencing the government policy on women's suffrage, educational, social reform issues, and it was main objective were spread of women education and elimination of child marriage and other social evils, franchise for women, and establishment of equality of rights between men and women. Okay, so this association played an important role in articulating the women's movement till its merger with the All India Women's Conference. Okay, so from the beginning, the Indian women's movement approached the suffrage campaign as a measure to achieve social reform, and the leaders believed that enfranchisement of women would mean additional support for reform legislation. Okay, suffrage in the sense right to vote. Okay, so and the right of vote, right? So the entry of Mahatma Gandhi with his experience altered the national politics dramatically, and he realized the importance of mass based to the Indian nationalism, and subsequently an ideology which suited the same was introduced. Gandhian style of mass mobilization and the implications for the Indian women movement in as much as increasing number of women were sought to be mobilized for participation in the independent movement. Even though Gandhi recognized the existence of a set of problems unique to women, uh, and he saw no conflict between a women's movement and national movement. During the Gandhian era of national movement, women continued their movement for political rights and social reform activities by reforming organizations. And Gandhi launched an All India Satyagraha in 1919 against the provocative enactment of Dawlat Act. Women took out processions, propagated the use of khadi, even quoted J. Though a few number of women were arrested, at beginning was made. Okay, though the non-cooperation movement ended in failure, it wakened the women all of sections and imparted first lessons in Satyagraha. Okay, so after the struggle for franchise, the first time Indian women exercised their vote in the elections of 1926, the franchise granted vote in 1926 elections of 26 according to the provisions provided in the 1919 Government Act. Okay, so the franchise granted to women was very restricted. The first woman to stand for elections was Kamala Devi Chattopadhyay, and Madras was the first state which nominated a woman member, Dr. Muthulakshmi Reddy, to the Legislative Council, and she saw to the enactment of the abolition of Devadasi system and laws to close brothels and protect the minor girls. Okay, so and she brought amendment to the Children's Act and worked for the creation of health schools. Okay, so a large number of women, including Sarojini Naidu, actively took part in the Dandi March. Women participated by breaking salt laws, forest laws, taking out processions, picketing schools, colleges, legislative councils, and clubs. In 1931, Sarojini Naidu attended the second round table conference as an official representative of the women of India. Okay, so during the civil disobedience movement of 1930, Kamala Devi Chattopadhyay addressed the meetings and picketed foreign cloth and liquor shops. She was in charge of the women wing of Hindustan Seva Dal, and the inauguration of provincial autonomy under the Indian Act of 1935 gave women an opportunity to elected to the state legislatures and also become administrators. In the elections of 1937, 8 women were elected from the general constituencies, 42 from the reserved constituencies, and 5 were nominated to the upper house when the ministries were formed. 10 women took office, one as a minister and others as deputy speakers and parliamentary secretaries. The Quit India movement, which was the last in the series of nationalist agitation, was launched by Gandhi in 1942 with a significant slogan of "Do or Die." Okay, so men leaders were arrested in the first roundup, and in their absence, women carried on the movement and bore the brunt of British work. And the women not only led processions and held demonstrations, but also organized camps in which they were given training in the civil duties and the first aid and were educated on the democracy. And women organized political prisoners relief fund, while some of women went underground and directed the movement secretly. And in Indian National Army of Subhash Chandra Bose, Rani Jhansi Regiment was created for women, and women were trained in nursing, social service, and to use weapons. Thus, women took part in various activities of the national movement. And the specific feature of the women's movement is the establishment of several women's organizations led by the women themselves on the all India basis to enhance their social, economic, political scene. Okay. So and the male leadership during the freedom struggle did not encourage a second line of the leadership, and a woman could assume leadership only when the men were in prison. Okay, so however, in such times there was an upsurge of women, which took not only the British government but their own men folk by surprise. Okay, so here were these women of the upper or middle class, leading the sheltered lives in their homes. Peasant women, working women, pouring out in the tens and thousands in defiance of government order and police atrocities. It was not only their display of courage and daring, but what was even more surprising was the organizational power they show. Okay, so it was primarily due to the efforts of the women and their role in the freedom struggle that women got the right to vote and complete equality in the Constitution of India. However, the gap arose between the theoretical status of women and their rights, what existed in reality. Okay, so I will give you some detailed things regarding the women social reformers who were in our syllabus in the next class. Okay, so this is end of my class today, and regarding my class or my lecture, you have any doubts or clarifications, now you are welcome to ask. Okay, so students, are you hearing?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is the end of my class regarding the participation of the women social reformers. You have any clarification or doubt? Now you are welcome to ask now.
No, sir.
No? Okay, right. I am ending my class now. I will meet you again the tomorrow.
Yes.